Hello, everyone, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your weekly dose of the internet for February 3rd, 2019. I am Michael Schwan. Nathan is going to be here. He is working on getting everything set up and all of that good stuff right now. He will call us as soon as he actually has his stuff. His computer was on and ready, but Skype didn't want to run. And so with that said, he's working on restarting, and he'll call us as soon as he's actually here and ready. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and move through this little intro bit so that we can just keep moving on schedule. So with that said, now, if you would please consider supporting this show, patreon.com/dailyinternet. Pick up some of our merchandise in the link, description, show notes below, wherever you happen to be watching this. And if there's anything you want us to talk about, or if you got some feedback, you got something you need to say, please send that to us. You can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit. All of those are at iReaditCast. Man, the sun is finally starting to actually exist in Alaska, which is wonderful. Because it hasn't. Okay, it has. It's just the way that it works, at least where we're at here in Anchorage, Alaska, is that in the middle of the winter, the sun only actually gets over the horizon for like 5 hours a day. Like, you start to get like the twilight or like early morning glow at like 9 a.m. And then after about 10 a.m., the sun's finally actually in the sky, and then it drops back down at around 4-ish, depending on where we're at in the winter. But after December 21st, after the solstice, we start to get more sun each day, and it's wonderful and great. And so we're slowly starting to get more and more sun, because when the sun doesn't actually rise until like around 10 a.m. and sets at 4 p.m., that means it's dark when you go to work. You go into work, and then unless you happen to be in a place that has a window facing the right direction, which most of us don't, you don't get to see the sun unless you leave for lunch, in which you're like scurrying to go get food, eating food, and then scurrying back. And then when you leave at the end of the day, the sun is gone. And so you go to work in the dark, you go home in the dark. It's always dark. And that's what leads to seasonal, what is it? Seasonal something disorder. I can't remember what the A stands for now. But sad. People get sad. So, but fortunately that is starting to curve down a bit. To reiterate, Nathan is working on being here. He is trying to get his computer to cooperate, and so he will call us as soon as he is ready. But Skype's a piece of crap. It's a jerk a lot. So with that said, it might be a minute, but he is here. He is messaging me right now, saying that shitty-ass program is refusing to open. So he'll be here as soon as he can. But we're just going to keep moving forward for the time being, and we'll jump in and catch up with him as soon as his computer will actually cooperate. Which, like, I love that. Like, we got him a new computer, thanks to all of our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/dailyinternet. Like, we finally just got that paid off, like, last month. And while we no longer have issues with his computer, and we've since replaced my computer, because since mine was a streaming box, we did that one first. We replaced my computer, got that one paid off, replaced Nathan's computer, got that one paid off. So all of our actual hardware is working now. But now we're just like running into problems of like just that Skype's a piece of shit. So there is never an end to the issues at hand. It's a good super happy fun time.
10.
YouTube to stop recommending conspiracy videos that misinform users. This was submitted by a human beings to Our World News. So what they mean by misinform. Now, obviously, they didn't. I guess not obviously. Now, they didn't say anything about fake news in quotes here. Fake news. Instead, this is going to be things such as conspiracy videos, promoting phony miracle cures, claiming the Earth is flat, or just making blatantly false claims about historic events like 9/11. And I would also throw like the Holocaust and stuff like that in there. And so now, for the longest time, YouTube and Google as a whole have just kind of like stayed away from regulation or changing their algorithm in any way on the concern that people would yell at them for free speech censorship, which that goes into that question of, do you have free speech in terms of YouTube when YouTube's a company who gets to make their own decisions to say whether you can or cannot do something? Now, there's also the other side of that conversation of YouTube is so big, it almost has a monopoly on the platform to where things like the company rules don't apply anymore. And we've seen that type of argument be made in Europe because Google has something like 95% of the user base for search engines in Europe. So, but apparently after enough criticism and pushback, which really that's all that has to happen nowadays, right? You just have to yell at somebody enough. YouTube is going to be altering their algorithm so that they are not promoting things that are, which it's not that you can't put it up there anymore. Is the thing. You can still upload all that garbage to YouTube. YouTube just won't support it in any way. They're not going to recommend it to other people, even if they're looking at stuff that is associated with it. They're not going to, like, I imagine you'll have a very hard time putting advertising on it, stuff like that. So it's not that they're censoring you. They're just not going to recommend you, which I guess some people are like, that's censorship. And I'm like, well, Is it censorship that our stuff isn't popular enough that YouTube doesn't want to recommend it to people? I'll ask you that question. I guess we just suck is really what it is. Nathan's still working on it. He'll be here soon, I hope. Nathan, help. Nathan, join us. Nathan, help us. He is truly the one and only savior of the world. No, that's not true. Oh, aha! Aha! We see his face.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
There's a problem with Skype.
Oh?
Yeah, Skype's garbage.
It's true.
I had to, it was refusing to open. So I had to delete Skype, reinstall it.
Well, it seems to be functioning now.
Yeah. God, Skype sucks though.
It does. I can't argue with it.
Oh my God. I hate everything. I didn't even have the thing open because I couldn't click it in Skype because Skype wasn't opening.
Well, welcome, sir. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm really tired. I was up late last night playing video games.
That's cool. What have you been playing?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay, sure. I guess that was a stupid question.
Yeah.
Your beard looks so full and luscious today.
I have not done anything to it. I've just kind of woken up.
I don't know. It just looks more full than normal.
I got woken up and was assaulted by fucking Skype.
Wait, why?
Because, oh no, insulted, not assaulted.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I'm tired.
okay. I was like, I didn't try and call you, so I don't imagine that it was like really loud or anything.
No, it I don't know. Words are hard when you're really tired. But it definitely insulted me.
That's fair. Skype is an insult to everyone and everything.
It's just like, hey, here's your intelligence. What you think you know? Well, we don't give a fuck because we're going to refuse to open the fucking application anyways.
Like, here's the problem, is that Skype's one of those things that we just don't have a good alternative for. Not a realistic one, anyway. Like, you can do video calls and Hangouts, but it kind of sucks.
And Hangouts is going away soon.
Is it? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Like, they're going to discontinue Hangouts.
The original Google Hangouts will start to disappear this October. No!
Yep.
Okay. Well, Hangouts chat. You know, I love Hangouts, though, in terms of just as a chat service.
That's real unfortunate because it's fucking done.
It's not, though. They're just replacing the old one with a new version of Hangouts.
All right, well, your old version's completely destroyed. Enjoy it sinking like the ship that it is.
Also, it's not even until they're introducing Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meet in October.
Yeah.
Which they're not even actually canceling the old Hangouts.
It's not Hangouts.
Classic Hangouts is supposed to still be around until at least 2020, because they don't intend to kill off Hangouts for regular users until all G Suite customers are happy with Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meet.
That's because like their Google Plus is all going down too.
Yeah, Google Plus it dies in like a couple of months, which I don't give a crap about that. Like Google Plus actually had the potential to be something, but Google just was like, oh, we'll just throw up a social media thing and then just leave it and be done.
Yeah, I feel like it was like incredibly short-sighted, a leap to try and snag a piece of that market, you know?
Well, it's not. I don't feel like it was short-sighted. I just feel like they didn't actually put effort into it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean,
I'll be interested to see what that turns into.
Like I said, I guess again that's probably because they were incredibly short-sighted when they launched it.
They're just like, yeah, we have social media too, and everyone's like, what does it do though? We don't even know.
It's social media stuff.
So yeah,
you can post things and you can
see
what other people post.
9.
If Trump was gone tomorrow, it wouldn't change systemic influences, says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
This was submitted by AFW guy to Our Politics.
So this was at the Sundance Film Festival over this past weekend, not today and yesterday, but last week. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made an appearance after a viewing of, what was the name? Knock Down the House, which is a documentary shown at the film festival that depicts the campaigns of women candidates, which included Ocasio-Cortez herself. And she came on to a video conference presenting to this audience through Skype.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right?
Should just something else.
How did you manage? Anyway, talking about how just because people like her got elected, it doesn't they're not at a point.
It's not a light switch.
Yeah, it doesn't get. We're not at the point yet where the problem that led to people like Trump getting elected, or voter suppression existing, that still exists. Like those problems are still there, and so while we've made a couple of small steps towards change and adjustment and trying to be a bit more fair in our democracy, that it's still going to be there for quite some time until we do a lot of actual work.
I don't know, like I feel like it's going to last a lot longer than anybody expects, because it's already lasted a lot longer than most people have already expected.
Well,
a lot of people think racism's just gone, and it's not.
I think it lasted so long mostly because there was so little awareness to it. And I know that there's still a pretty heavy level of unawareness when it comes to systemic injustices within the United States of America, but you were able to get away with it for so long because things like the internet didn't exist. Whereas now it's all presented to you within an hour when someone does something shitty, and we actually have larger levels of knowledge and information available about how they abuse these systems.
It's like, yo, you guys abuse it watching us with your cameras. Like, we can abuse it too, watching you with our cameras.
Unfortunately, though, I really think that the only way that we fix it is waiting for the expiration date. In that,
yeah,
there will, sure, you might get a few of these people out of office, but realistically, until we rotate out a lot of our really old blood that's in control of things, we won't see actual changes made.
So we should throw a battle royale in Congress. Make them fight.
Yeah, but
for the entertainment of the people.
Maybe.
My money is on Mitch McConnell survives because he withdraws into a shell and no one can pierce it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's the good old-fashioned testudo style, you know what I'm saying? The Romans knew what they were getting into when it came to shielding up like a tortoise.
Man.
8.
Testudo?
I don't know. Scientists have long known that some beaked whales beach themselves and die in agony after exposure to naval sonar, and now they know why.
This was submitted by Dormus Jessup to Our World News.
So, Nathan, do you know what the bends are?
Of course, I know what the bends are.
Okay. Decompression sickness, or the bends, is something that happens to scuba divers, and we found out it can happen to whales as well. So basically, if you're really deep underwater and you ascend too quickly, because of the way that the decompression works and all that kind of stuff, you end up the makeup of your blood changes. Your heart rate slows, the blood flow is restricted, and so you conserve a lot of oxygen when you are deeper in underneath water. If you ascend too quickly, your heart rate speeds up, blood flow is unrestricted, you have a lot more oxygen, which then can't be processed fast enough, which releases nitrogen bubbles into your blood, which can lead to you getting very sick, or it can lead to things like burst blood vessels and dying.
This is why you don't beat your bubbles to the top when you are scuba diving.
Yep, you should never race your bubbles to the top, ever.
It'll kill you.
It will, and it kills whales. But the reason that they suffer from it, because like whales should naturally know not to do that, which normally they do. Problem, humans exist. So when a whale is deep underwater, so it needs to not ascend too quickly, they will often get spooked and scared by the sounds of naval sonar and want to get away from the sonar as fast as possible. So their stress response of, I don't know what this is, I need to get away from it, overrides their brain in terms of, you need to not ascend too quickly because that's bad for our bodies. And so they will ascend too quickly, accumulate nitrogen, suffer decompression sickness or the bends, and then beach themselves to die a painful death.
Damn. Like true warriors.
We suck.
No, what you don't understand is these whales beat their bubbles to the top and died painfully in a mock combat with these boats, so that the Valkyries can easily pick them up and take the whales to Valhalla.
They didn't really fight, though. They just ran away. Isn't that, like, disgraceful?
I mean, how the fuck are you gonna fight as a whale? Like, they're lining themselves up and then they beach themselves on accident, you know? Things happen when your mind's all crazy because of sonar. Did you know that dolphins and bats have evolved to have pretty much the exact same sonar?
Yes. I read Reddit.
No, you don't.
Definitely not. None of these topics today were from Reddit.
I built it.
You built Reddit?
I built Reddit from scratch.
Dude, you're a piece of shit.
I am. I was like, yo, I'm done with 4chan. I want 4chan, but light.
You're just a pile of garbage.
And then
massively gay.
And then it was regular 4chan again.
7.
Eventually all things become 4chan.
It's true.
Colorado law would bar convicted animal abusers from owning pets.
It's true. In every case, given enough time, everything turns to shit.
Everything turns to 4chan.
This was submitted by Amitramus 27 to our uplifting news.
It's pretty self-explanatory. If you get a misdemeanor or a felony for abusing animals, you don't get to own animals anymore.
Oh, go figure. Aren't they actually? There's no felony law against animal abuse at the moment, is there?
There is, actually. You can get a felony for animal abuse. There are misdemeanors and felonies, and currently, like, a law exists in California where if you get a misdemeanor for a misdemeanor for animal abuse, you're not allowed to own an animal for 5 years. If you get a felony, you're not allowed to own an animal for 10 years. There's also a law in California that's in Florida that's relatively similar, and now they're looking at introducing something along those lines in Colorado.
That's interesting. I like it. You know, they're trying to really nail the head of the nail when they're saying that you should not be a dickhead.
So we'll see if it ends up going through. I like this idea. I think it makes sense. Now, it does make me wonder though, like, what is considered a misdemeanor animal abuse though?
Mm-hmm. They're like slapping no, it's like uppercutting your prize-winning racehorse after they lose a race.
Do you know someone who's done that?
I've done it a couple times in Red Dead.
God damn it.
Totally by accident, mind you.
It was an accident. I didn't mean to.
I didn't mean to punch them. It just kind of happens.
It just kind of happened. My knife, I tripped and my knife just fell in them
Yo.
137 times.
Look, all I'm saying is anybody who's played Red Dead Redemption has accidentally punched a horse.
Isn't the punch button and the like get in the saddle button the same thing?
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yay. Logic. And then the horse kicks you and you die.
6.
Mitch McConnell admits he is against high voter turnout because he suspects people will vote for Democrats.
This is submitted by Zulat to Our Politics.
Because it was recently suggested that the voting day, election day, be a federal holiday, which would cause it to be a paid day off for a large number of people. And Mitch McConnell immediately shut this down, calling it a power grab by the Democrats so that federal employees could go out and support Democratic candidates and assist people with getting to the polls, which is funny. It's like, all right, so you're just immediately saying that 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 people that if they didn't have to be in these shitty situations would vote for Democrats. Like you know this.
Yeah, no, you are literally being a shitlord right now.
And so yeah, he's a piece of trash. Like, and multiple times has this been brought up of that there's a lot of voter suppression because the more people that vote, like if we see larger number of voters, more often a larger number of them support Democratic candidates. So it's been a long-time Republican strategy to try to keep voter turnout low so that their dedicated base will be a larger portion of the voter turnout.
They're trying to even the playing field by saying, no, not everyone can vote.
Pretty much. Like, the thing is technically in America, it is a requirement that that they give you time off to go vote. Problem. It's only up to 4 hours, which isn't always enough time in some areas to actually get through a voting line, especially in areas that they have some voter suppression going on, whether it's, removing polling places or, deactivating polling machines, etc. And in other cases, there's also the circumstances that they don't have to pay you for that time off. So some people just literally can't afford to take 4 hours off of work to go vote.
Yeah, nor would they want to, especially if they're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, yes, they legally have to give you time off to go vote, but they don't have to pay you for it. And when so much of the nation just makes no money.
Yeah, like you were purposely keeping us poor, dickhead.
Like, well, yeah, I mean, it's easier to control people if they're poor.
It is essentially just wage slavery.
Yeah, I bet.
A bit? Like, it is almost 100% wage slavery. Most people have less than $400 in their bank accounts at any given point.
Yay!
At any given point, if there is a gigantic medical emergency, there's no way they would be able to actually pay for it without going online and asking people for donations.
Well, that's like what is it, like 25% of America has no money in their bank account outside of like a small little spurts of I got paid, it's gone. I got paid, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. It is ridiculous the amount of America that is super poor compared to
I also really love the people that I was seeing around that were criticizing federal employees for not being able to get by for a month without a paycheck. Like, you shouldn't live paycheck to paycheck. You shouldn't operate that way because, you can always do better. You just need to budget better so that you can have some sort of protection on you. And I'm like, I don't think you understand.
That's another thing that I dislike. It's like we as millennials actually are working so much more hard, and so much more harder than the baby boomers before us, and yet they keep telling us that we need to work harder so that we can get what they have. It's like, we have been working harder. You guys keep pushing the goalposts so that it's harder to get to that point. You guys are actively being the assholes as you are keeping your own children in a slavery style capitalistic gain. I don't know. It's hard for words, and I'm still so tired.
No, I understand. And it really is a very ridiculous situation to exist in because like minimum wage is still like $7.25 or whatever, which is an absolute abysmal amount of money. Like it doesn't pay for anything, especially when the average rent in America is something like $1,100. Like
So, like, for instance, let me explain to you by explaining a meme, right? So it is the Eric Andre meme where Eric Andre is standing there with a gun in front of Hannibal Buress, and then he fires at him, right? So Eric Andre says baby boomers. The Hannibal Buress says millennials, and the gun says inflation. He fires at him and he goes, "Why are you guys so lazy?"
yeah, pretty much. I had a very, very long-winded conversation with a couple of my online friends, and basically the idea is that a rumor has come out that PlayStation 5 is going to have full backwards compatibility for PlayStation 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay? Which would be really sick. That'd be really cool. And so the conversation came out about, well, what if they started re-releasing old games? Because like there's still an issue of like, yes, it may have backwards compatibility, but go and try and find a copy of PlayStation 2's Def Jam Fight for New York that costs less than $50.
Well, yeah.
Because
there are certain games that are like top tier that are hard to find. A lot of PlayStation 1 games, right? So if you go and try and find like a copy of Black Band Final Fantasy 7, for instance, it's fucking expensive.
And so the conversation then came up of I was like, well, I wouldn't mind if they just started reprinting discs of like PlayStation 1 games. Like it doesn't
the classic series.
Like it just costs nothing for them to drop data on a disc. Like it pennies, if even pennies.
They're essentially just paying for the disc and the shipment.
And so I was like, they could just, crank all of them out into physical copies. You could either order them online, or if they wanted to ship them to retailers, mark them for $10 and then call it a day, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, we had this long discussion about why would they bother. So let's compare. They were comparing two games, Crash Bandicoot and Final Fantasy VII.
All right, I like Crash Bandicoot. I can agree with this.
And they were saying, well, one, Final Fantasy VII had more discs, and it was a more popular game. So realistically, we'd probably see Crash at $10 and Final Fantasy VII at like 15 or 20.
No. What you don't understand is that you can take these games and put them onto a newer disc and still have them just as fine. You don't need 4 discs for Final Fantasy VII anymore. Just put it on one of the new PlayStation 4 discs, and you'll be fine.
Even beyond that, it was they were. Even with that argument, they're like, yeah, but why wouldn't they just charge $20 for Final Fantasy VII when they know people will pay for it because it's a more popular title? And I said, because that's bullshit, greedy business practices. They're like, it's not greed. You're just trying to maximize your profit. And I'm like,
that is the definition of greed.
That's greed. And they're like, why can't you understand why they would do this? I was like, no, I understand why, and I'm saying it's bullshit.
Dude, that reminds me of an internet argument I had yesterday with a guy where he was trying to tell me that it is in best practice for all of America to get rid of the government influence in schools and get rid of public schools and privatize all of the schools and have children go to vocational schools. And I'm like, yo, people in college don't know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. You're asking a 5-year-old to decide on a vocational school. You can go fuck yourself. You're condemning poor kids.
Well, and also people just can't afford that. Like,
yeah, he was like, well, I don't understand because like private schools pull better numbers and they're charging $8,000 per kid, while public schools are not pulling any of these kinds of numbers and they're charging $10,000 per kid from the government. Well, I'm like, well, you see, the government is paying for that and not the fucking parents at the moment, because those parents can't afford shit.
Well, that's also just a problem with education systems in general, of that it's just schools are based purely on what test scores and not actually the level of accomplishment that their students achieve.
See, that was my thing. I was like, no, you're wrong. public schools are fine. Standardized schools are fine. The problem is standardized testing and the pressure it puts on teachers, especially when you have 40 plus kids in a classroom, which is why private schools do so much better than public schools, because the teachers have much smaller class size and they can focus on their children and have them learn properly, as opposed to just presenting ideas and facts and then hoping that it catches for like the other 20 kids that you can't really even assess.
I don't even think standardized testing is necessarily that bad of a thing. I think basing the entirety of a school, its worth, and as well as the level of success of its students, as well as the amount of money you will give a school based off of its standardized test scores, is garbage.
Sure, you can keep standardized testing. Just make sure that it's not the focus.
Not the basis for literally anything and everything that you do.
Just be like, yo, guys, this is a benchmark. It's okay if it's not up to snuff. Like, don't worry, because it's not the biggest deal, you know?
But, like, the problem is that so much of America, and a lot of places, but especially in America, we have been brainwashed to believe that companies making all of the money is good for us somehow.
Trickle down economics.
Because like the thing is like, yes, I do understand why you easily could and would want to charge $20 for Final Fantasy VII over $10 for Crash. You absolutely could sell that. You'd make $10 extra per copy. Like, I understand that. But when the company is already reporting billions of dollars of profit per quarter, so you're arguing for the sake of that a company should make $3 billion in 3 months instead of $2 billion in 3 months. None of which benefits us. None of which benefits anybody but the company. And I don't mean the employees. I mean the people at the top and the shareholders.
All right, so I raise you that because it's Sony would charge different costs for their remade games, right? If it was Nintendo and they were like, yeah, you can plug in this, newer cartridge into your Switch that we had made for you guys, and it's a bunch of classic old games, that thing would be universally the same price no matter what games are on it. Because Nintendo's just like, yo, we just gotta give you our access to our old games so that you guys can keep buying them and playing them. Meanwhile, PlayStation's like, yo, Nintendo's doing that? We're gonna hop on the bandwagon and make inferior products because, who needs the PlayStation Classic when you can actually just get an SNES emulator or the SNES one and throw a PlayStation emulator on it and it works better.
So, yeah, that was a fun discussion. Anyway, let's move on a bit, shall we?
Yeah.
5.
A senior judge has resigned from one of the United Nations international courts in the Hague, citing shocking political interference from the White House and Turkey.
This was submitted by Riley616 to Our World News.
So, Christoph Fluge, a German judge, claimed that the United States was threatening judges after moves were made to examine the conduct of United States soldiers in Afghanistan.
Fluge, sure.
I don't know. Yeah, so, and they also found similar things from Turkey when their Turkey's government had made...
Are you saying our government's essentially a gigantic mob?
Yeah, big-ass bully? Exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, we are no better than Al Capone or any of those other mobsters. I don't understand. I'm glad this guy's not putting up with it and he's quitting and he's saying, is being vocal about it. But like, fuck, I don't understand. We're awful. We're the bad guys.
And Turkey had also made moves along these lines. They weren't agreeing with one of their United Nations judges and how their decisions were because they felt that their decisions should be based on what Turkey wants, not on UN law wants. And so they started to make legal claims against him and then arrested him, which since he was arrested, he had to be removed from the UN panel.
Was he arrested in Turkey?
I don't know.
Oh. Because, that's really shitty, arresting him just for speaking out.
So, it wasn't even like speaking out. He wasn't like, Turkey's a piece of shit. He was just like, I vote this way because that's, the way that the law says. And Turkey was like, you should have voted this way because it's good for us.
Dickheads.
Yeah, we suck.
Yeah, we are the bad guys.
Are we the baddies?
We're definitely the bad guys.
Yeah, we're the baddies. There's a reason that we show up in so many places. People are like, oh, fuck, America is here.
Oh my God, we're like Space Marines.
4,
Self-driving cars will cruise to avoid paying to park, suggests a new study.
This was submitted by Mavia Tire Science.
So now this has only been done once by one guy, and we don't know if he was paid off or not. But based on their research, the average cost, and this includes, like energy cost, wear and tear on the vehicle, all of that stuff, just the whole thing would only, if they were just electricity, depreciation, wear and tear, maintenance, cruising costs for a self-driving vehicle would be about 50 cents an hour. And when even the cheapest parking you can find is normally $1.50 an hour, depending on if it's on the street or not. Normally, most places that are like in an actual lot start at like $2.50 an hour, $5 an hour, sometimes even more than that. It would be substantially more cost effective for people to have their self-driving cars just drive around and then pick them up later.
Even through gas prices?
Well, most self-driving cars would be electric.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
And because it is more efficient to drive slower, there is the concern that self-driving cars would be cruising around downtown areas at like 2 miles per hour, which would cause a gridlock in traffic because there's cars that are just not moving very quickly.
Huh.
Now, like, I understand why they're concerned.
Yeah, I can definitely.
But
see
at
their-
the same time, doesn't that mean that you're just kind of overcharging for parking?
Yeah, okay, so yes, and at the same time, it also creates jobs because now you need police to make sure all of that is maintained, and that in addition, you're hiring construction to help keep your streets free of wear and tear from the constant driving on them.
Yeah, the problem is though is that trying to actually like make a rule of that, like you can't drive around, like a car can't drive around without a driver for more than like 10 minutes doesn't really work, because that car might be driving to pick up a parcel and it's not like you can ask the car. So
what I think is this will cause gigantic ruts in the road, because all of these vehicles are going to be programmed pretty much the same program, so they're all going to be driving theoretically in the same ruts as they go along these roads. So like I said, construction is going to be dope, but then you're just going to get construction robots to replace construction.
well, the current suggestion is that instead of charging parking, you will instead be charged an entrance fee into downtown areas. So like a toll, but the toll would be like $15 to drive into downtown areas in some cities.
That'd be real shit.
And I'm like, I don't feel like that's the right way to do this.
No, you're doing it the opposite way. You need to lower the cost of parking.
And again, like my little blue brain is like, well, this wouldn't be an issue if people were paid actual wages so that you could pay actual taxes, so the government had enough money to be able to take care of roads and nobody would have to be concerned about things like paying for parking. Like, if everyone made enough money, it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But again, we go back to that, $3 billion profit in a 3-month quarter, and most of that wasn't taxed because they put it through offshore havens.
And if most people just paid their taxes.
So, but I do understand the concern, especially when it comes to slowing down traffic. But at the same time, like, there's also benefits when it comes to traffic, when it comes to self-driving vehicles. They estimated that with other studies, if about 10% of cars turned into self-driving cars, which would know about quick alternate routes and would take themselves off of the main arterial roads, that it would free up a lot of the space on those roads to help traffic move quicker.
It's true. It's true.
Like, there's this double-edged sword here, but I feel like this one's easily addressed by just figuring out a better way to deal with parking.
Yeah, it really is. It really just comes down to reducing the cost of parking.
Also, depending on distance, couldn't the car just drive home and park?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like
would be fucking
it would depend on like how far it was and the cost and stuff if it's truly cost effective. But couldn't the car just drive back home and park in the driveway? Like,
Yeah, no, theoretically, there's nothing stopping it.
and then it just knows to come get you at 5 o'clock.
Like you can either pre-program it or you can ask for it to come and get you.
So, like, I feel like this is a possible problem, but I don't necessarily feel like it'll be a actual one. Like, we'll actually see it exist.
Yeah, no, this is something that we're going to have to address here in the coming years.
3,
EU and Japan create world's biggest free trade zone.
Damn, this was submitted by Jin Lingna to Our World News.
So the JEFTA has been signed, the Japanese-European Free Trade Agreement, which
The JAFTA.
the
I
JEFTA.
love that. I like how they use these acronyms and they sound funny. You know, like NAFTA and JAFTA.
So what they're doing is basically just deleting all tariffs completely.
Nice.
So to quickly highlight what it does, Japan will have scrap duties on 97% of goods imported from the EU. Open access to Japanese markets is going to save European companies around 1 billion euros of duties annually. EU eliminates tariffs on 99% of imports from Japan. For automotives, the EU will eliminate duties over a 7-year transition period. Both sides eliminate duties on nearly all food and agricultural products. The service market will be open, including financial services, e-commerce, telecommunications, and transportation. The trade agreement includes Paris's climate deal commitments, and then it also addresses sustainable developments and sets standards for labor, safety, environmental, and consumer protections. So basically, no more cost to trade from EU to Japan. You're going to be responsible for your own stuff, which means there won't be somebody that is charging you money to deal with your stuff. So you just have to do your own process, and there will be a full open market for most services, and you can use services from other countries in your own country. So basically, it's almost like Japan became part of the European Union just without being in Europe.
Yo, that's kind of cool. Well, okay, so it's not quite the same because they don't have the ability to freely travel between each other.
Right.
Especially by train.
Yeah. But it's really close otherwise.
That's fucking sick.
So, power to you guys for progressing in ways that we can only dream of right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe one day we'll be able to join them.
Maybe one day. We gotta get through another election or two first.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck finally achieves lifelong dream of not having to play Batman anymore.
This is submitted by Slow to R Not the Onion. Man, he really did not like playing Batman.
I think it was one of those things that he was excited originally, and then because of the way the EU cinematic universe works, it just turned into not the thing that he wanted to do or be.
And it's become shit.
Like, he was thinking he was going to be like George Clooney or Christian Bale or something, and then just had to just be this like hyper edgelord. Like,
just look at him recently. He just looks so depressed and sad. And
damn.
angry.
I mean, if you want to help me with my depression, Ben Affleck, if you just like, I'm getting married in less than 4 months, June 1st. We are asking for donations towards a down payment on a house as wedding gifts. So,
or even more importantly, if you want to buy me a dog.
yeah, buy Nathan a dog for my wedding.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be my plus one.
But help us get a house for my wedding, and you can help with our depression substantially.
Anybody who says that money can't buy happiness has never been to the pound.
So now that said, he is not going to be directing The Batman in 2021. He is passing that over to what's his name?
Man, he's really just scrubbing his hands of this.
Matt Reeves. So he's not going to be directing Batman in 2021. He's passing it to Matt Reeves. He's not going to be portraying Batman in 2021 because they're going to be focusing on a younger Bruce Wayne. Question to you, Nathan. Who do you want to see play Batman?
That's a good question.
Now, specifically, they have said that the 2021 The Batman will focus on a younger Bruce Wayne, where most of the suggestions I'm seeing are not younger people.
No, everyone wants to be older. Yeah, as soon as you said younger, it threw me off, so I have to like actually think about it.
Yeah, because I've seen suggestions like Carl Urban. I've seen suggestions like
Ooh, that's not bad.
Idris Elba, which
Tom
of course
Hardy.
created the conversation of, oh my God, but he's black. Ah,
They're just trying to give Idris Elba a superhero role in a main portion, and I can understand like give him shit like that, but you have to try and have it make sense. So, for instance, there's been 2 black Supermen. Hint, hint, wink, wink. One of them has already had a movie about themselves, even though it was garbage and starred Shaq.
yeah, no, I like that's the thing. It's like I don't have an issue at all if we want to have black Batman. I just hate that. Like it's like when they also suggested that Idris Elba be Bond. They're like, but Bond is white. Ah.
Yeah, I can understand the James Bond thing a lot more because like that's definitely a code name.
It's dumb.
I don't know. I am all for giving Idris Elba more roles though, because that guy is he's a bloody genius.
Here's
Maybe
the problem.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, but Tom Hardy's playing Venom, which I realize is another like that's Marvel compared to DC.
Except it's not real steeped in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's supposed to be by the next one. Venom 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
like
right. So
Venom
they're
2 is
actually-
supposed to hook it into everything else, apparently.
Alright, so that's nice.
But that said, I
So you're
imagine
trying
that
to-
there's
you're trying to
also
find somebody who would be able to play Batman that has not been any Marvel movies because you can't.
well,
really go
and the
between.
problem also is a young Bruce Wayne.
All right. How young are we talking? Are we talking child or like I was thinking 20-something, maybe 30-something?
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at. So probably around the realm of like Daniel Radcliffe or younger.
What's the name of that kid that looks like he never fucking ages? He was in 13 Reasons Why.
Paul Rudd. He is a kid that never ages.
Man, I'm telling you, that kid, he might be able to pull off like a bewildered early Bruce Wayne before he really learned anything.
I guess it just depends on how young they want to go, because like I don't know. I'm guessing like I'm 20-ish maybe.
Yeah, man, that's real hard.
Here's the other problem though of I haven't seen any like young actors that have been good or prominent recently.
Yeah, you have to really, they have to really stand out.
Outside of like Tom Holland, who's
Jude Law's too old. Fuck, I don't even know. So you digitally make John C. Reilly younger.
all right, good plan.
Just to have more John C. Reilly things.
Like IMDb has a list of young male actors that was last updated 11 months ago. And like even this,
Why are you looking up young male actors?
because I'm looking for people to play Batman, damn it. But everyone in here is like 30 or older, which I mean, yes, is still young, but I don't feel like, you know, Christian Bale was portraying, you know, like Ben Affleck is the grizzled older Batman, but Christian Bale was pretty young. George Clooney was, you know, kind of like around the 40 area.
I just saw this kid and his name.
Bam, Liam Hemsworth. Let's get Thor's younger brother.
Ooh, that's not bad.
He is 29 this year.
That's actually a pretty good idea. You could always take the kid who played Bruce Wayne, David Mazouz, wait a few years and pop him up into there, the kid from Gotham.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go with Liam Hemsworth. He also still like looks super young because I feel like a lot of the modern like popular actors outside of like baby faces like Tom Holland all look 40.
Josh Hutcherson.
I mean,
Ansel Elgort, the guy who was in Baby Driver, he might be not bad.
Sure. Will Poulter.
Man, a lot of these people I don't actually know who they are.
Yeah, right. I know. And
There's
that's
a
why I
lot
was
of-
like Daniel Radcliffe.
There's a lot of Teen Wolf.
Is it-
You know what? You're just gonna say fuck it, and you're gonna give the role to one of the Sprouse twins.
Tom Felton. The Sprouse twins. Sure,
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, just give it to one of them.
Josh Peck.
Miles Teller.
Give it to Josh from Jake and
Actually-
Josh.
Actually, I think that's not Josh. Give it to Drake, because Drake's been the voice actor for a bunch of Spider-Man. Like, I think Drake would be a decent.
Give it
option.
to the #1 mom from Stranger Things.
No, actually, I might double down on Miles Teller. Miles Teller is not a bad option.
What the hell
Yeah.
is his name?
Which one?
The #1 mom from Stranger Things.
Oh man. Fuck. I'm gonna look it up now because I don't remember, but that guy's fucking amazing.
Yeah, give it to that guy. I don't even remember the name of his character, so
I want to say it started with an R, but I don't fully remember it because it's Stranger Things. You know how you like watch something and then it's entertaining and it kind of leaks out of your head? You don't remember it. His name is Joe Keery, and he is Steve Harrington.
yeah, that guy.
You can always do Charlie Heaton too. He was the loser kid.
I don't know. I got nothing.
I feel like we have options. Never mind. Never mind. Actually, I was gonna say Dacker Montgomery would be a good option, because Dacker Montgomery was the dickhead in season 2, and he was also Jason Scott in the Power Rangers movie. He was the Red Power Ranger.
And you know what I would actually like to see?
But I heard a rumor that he was going to be playing Nightwing. So
You know what I'd actually like to see, Nathan?
Hmm.
So I would like to see them take the Disney Star Wars approach of just do a ton of casting to find people that actually fit what you want. Because like Finn and Rey were almost completely brand new actors and actresses when they came into the spotlight with The Force Awakens.
Mhm.
Like they weren't known names.
No, not by any stretch.
John Bottega, is that his last name?
Boyega.
Boyega. And shit, what's her name?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy
Sorry.
Ridley, thank you.
I have very mixed feelings about John Boyega. Like,
Okay,
I
I will also say that I have not seen The Last Jedi, so
I appreciate his level of I'm going to be the best, but at the same time, he has almost no level of humility, and that is what really throws me off. Like, you have to have some form of humility when you're working in any form of business, especially one where it's very, like, very high chance of you failing and never being an actor ever again.
move this over here. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and also like ever since The Force, well, obviously I didn't see him like at all before The Force Awakens, but ever since The Force Awakens, he's like really cocky. But it helps that he's at least
Absolutely.
funny.
Kind of funny. I don't know. I'm not as entertained by him as most people. I feel like there's better African American actors you could have chosen, even better British African American actors. Daniel Kaluuya would have been great. He was the guy who was in, I think it was Kaluuya, in Get Out, as well as that episode of Black Mirror that fucking terrified me.
I have seen no Black Mirror.
It was a really fucked up one. So the point of the episode was that everyone's stuck in this gigantic, like, essentially complex where you live but you also work there, and when you work all you're doing is pedaling on a motionless bike, so that you can get fake points. And this guy falls in love with this girl, and she wants to be on this TV show, and the only way to do that is to redeem a bunch of fake points. So he works up a sweat just getting all these points for her. Gives her the ability to get on the stage to sing. And then when she sings, the crowd, it's like American Idol. The crowd's like, boo. And she gets booed to the point where they're like, yo, you know what you should really do? You should become a porn star. So she becomes a porn star, and then he's stuck seeing her ads all over the place. And he keeps skipping them, and then he runs out of credits, and then he freaks out. And then he gets enough credits to go on there. And then he goes on there. And instead of doing anything, he whips out a shard of glass from a screen that he had punched out earlier, and he holds it to his own neck, and he has this monologue about how he's angry at everyone because they all suck, because they don't listen to people and what they want to do, and they don't support people. And all of them really liked it, so they gave him his own TV show. And his TV show is he holds a bit of glass to his neck, and he speaks about how angry he is about injustices, and he gets to live comfortably because of it.
All right. Anyway,
It was real fucked up. I enjoyed it a lot.
Isn't like every episode of Black Mirror fucked up?
Not necessarily. Like there's some that are. Oh man, actually, I just thought of it. Give it to the guy who played Jon Snow. Give it to Kit Harington. Or even Jackie Gleason. Jack Gleason would be good. He's the kid who played Joffrey.
Sure.
But anyways,
I guess we just do what Hollywood and Disney have been doing for years and just try and find the actors that are like 35 to 40 that look 25.
Yeah, you could also give it to Nicholas Hoult. He's the guy who played Nightcrawler, not Nightcrawler, Beast. I'm sorry, Beast and X-Men.
Again, though, we still also don't know what age range they're looking at for a young Batman.
He's gonna play J.R.R. Tolkien in the Tolkien movie.
Who?
Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, okay.
The guy who played Beast. That's fucking cool. Anyways, what was I saying before I got off on a sidetrack?
So I just looked up Kit Harington to see how old he is. He's only 32 years old.
Yeah, but he still looks fairly young, especially when he shaves.
Yeah, he can baby face himself up. If we wanted to push towards like an 18, 20-year-old Batman. But there's news stories about Kit Harington because apparently he informed his wife about how Game of Thrones ends because he's in the final season and she has stopped talking to him.
Oh no, poor Ygritte. I bet that's her major Ygritte.
Oh God.
It's a pun.
Oh God. Why would you do that to me?
My puns are like fire, just like Ygritte's hair.
Now, they're okay in terms of like their relationship, and she asked how it ended, and he told her, but she wasn't happy about it, so she didn't talk to him for 3 days.
That's amazing.
Oh well. Anyway, let's move on.
1.
Supreme Court of Canada says bankrupt energy companies must clean up old oil and gas wells before paying off creditors.
This was submitted by MZens to Our World News.
Sure. Basically, with oil companies and natural gas companies, you know, the iconic little oil driller guys that pump the oil pumps that, you know, grab all that juicy goodness out of the ground. Well, with the what's the word that I'm looking for? With the fossil fuel industry going downhill so hard so quickly recently, a lot of those energy companies have went bankrupt, and they're just leaving their pumps wherever they stand. And Canada doesn't like that. So Canada has said, no, before you can pay off the people that gave you money, you need to clean up all your crap.
Yeah, you can't just leave that. You're fucking destroying the goddamn environment.
Well, they don't normally just leave it. They normally turn them off and like essentially sell them to someone else who owns them, and those people just leave it there. But Canada said no, because that's just, you're just leaving things around and saying that someone else owns it now and paying off people that don't need the money, but you technically owe the money too. And now the problem is that while this is now the law, it might not actually be applicable, because when a company is declaring bankruptcy, they don't normally have much money left. they might literally they might not have enough money to pay their creditors. They might not have enough money to pay to have this stuff cleaned up. And the ruling doesn't really provide guidance or direction on what to do if you don't have enough money to clean up your mess.
Well, that's a good question. My first guess is loans, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to pay off those loans if you're already not working.
Yeah, it makes me think of those situations of like, I need a car, I need gas to get to work, but I need money to get gas, but I need to get to work to get money.
So what you do is you set up a precedent where if they can't fully pay for it to get cleaned up, the COO or CEO when the company folded gets sued, as well as the stockholders.
Well, realistically, what we
Maybe
have,
not the stockholders, but
there's two solutions currently, which is making it the responsibility of the industry. So since a lot of the times they're offloading those abandoned wells to other companies, if those other companies aren't going to use said wells, they have to clean them up, or putting the burden onto the public.
just fucking awful. Should never have to do that.
So I don't know. It's an interesting problem because it's not something. It's not like the people. They would have to clean them up before they were out of money, which is difficult to do because they're making money off of them.
See, it's all just money passing between hands constantly in a circle, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn shame because no matter what, the regular people just lose.
Pretty much. Anyway.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
Nathan, what did you care about in the last week?
I care about two things.
I'm listening.
I cared about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
And I cared about Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
I have been playing both.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of important things, video game-wise, have been updated. Depth has gotten updated. They got a new shark as well as a new gun for starting. It's like a pistol, so it's really just for the starting early game. There's been testing for a new difficulty in Deep Rock Galactic,
Cool.
Hazard 5. Hazard 5 doesn't have respawns, and like you can't pick up your teammates, and it's got a way increased spawn rate. I don't know. It's just been really good for gaming this like entire week. I played like a solid 4 hours of Resident Evil 2 and shit my pants repeatedly.
Good work. Good work.
I just started Kingdom Hearts because my roommate's been really playing it. In fact, after this, I'm probably not going to be doing what I need to be doing. I'm probably going to go downstairs and play Kingdom Hearts.
Good work. Good work.
And like, I don't even know if I care for the storyline for Kingdom Hearts much anymore because it's all contrived and it's all time travel and it's all the power of your hearts will set us all free. But at the same time, like, it's Disney and Final Fantasy characters. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to spin Goofy around and slam him into the earth. You go, Goof Troop. You go.
Very super minor Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story or anything like that, but just as a warning for you, skip the next 10 seconds. There are no Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3 at all. People have already trudged through the entire game. There is a single shop that is run by a Moogle, and there is a single puzzle that the final result is a Cactuar. But other than that, there are no Final Fantasy characters.
That's real bullshit.
They don't need them anymore. Like, originally, they had shoved them in there for the sake of trying to get additional attention to Kingdom Hearts, but Kingdom Hearts is its own thing now. They don't need it.
I'm real upset about that because, like, you could still get gummy ships and stuff in the shape of Kingdom Hearts characters. Like, you can get a Tonberry and shit, but, like, that's real upsetting.
Yep. No. Leon and his little group is not there.
I don't give a shit about Leon. Leon's just a punk bitch. I cared more about, like, the minor ones, like Riku and Aerith.
Oh, sure. No, I understand. But, so, It is no longer a Disney game with Final Fantasy characters. It is just a Disney game with Kingdom Hearts characters.
Some straight horse shit.
Since Organization 13 is completely taken over.
And it's not like Final Fantasy's been completely taken out of it. It's like it's got that slight hint of it. It's like they dipped Final Fantasy's dick in the tip of the Kingdom Hearts chili, if you will.
No, realistically, it's just all of the actual Kingdom Hearts characters were just cranked out of the friggin' Final Fantasy gachapon machine for character designs and then thrown into the game.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Because all of the characters that are actually Kingdom Hearts characters are just Final Fantasy characters that aren't in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, they're just reskins. I'll tell you what, though. It is super cheesy.
I believe it. But
like,
that's okay.
Wisconsin is just like, yo, you need to fucking cool it.
Thing I cared about in the last week is the amount of work it takes to start up new projects. I'm working on launching a YouTube series and getting Twitch streaming set up, and the amount of work on the initial startup for that is immense. In terms of, like, it's not even like just recording shit. That's the easy part, actually. And the amount of work it takes to like get new social media accounts set up, get the YouTube account set up, get Twitch account set up, get a Discord server set up, get all of the channels and categories set up, get the permissions and roles set up, get bots set up, get protection set up, get just all of this stuff takes hours and hours. I'm finally almost done after hours and hours.
That's what's up.
It is what's up. It is what's up. Anyway, I am ready to go, though. Are you ready to go, sir?
Yeah, I got Kingdom Hearts to finish.
Enjoy, sir. Well, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Everybody, this was your 532nd dose of the internet. Remember, we go live now on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you would like to follow and share the show or have anything that you would like to say to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit. All of those are at iReaditCast. Otherwise, we do ask that you support us, patreon.com/dailyinternet, or pick yourself up some merchandise that are in the links or show notes below, regardless of where you are watching this. But that is it for today. My name is Michael Schwan.
And my name is Riku, but not Riku with 2 Ks, because that's from Final Fantasy. Just Riku with 1 K.
Even though both are in the, yeah. Anyway.
I don't understand why they never played up on that gag. They could have totally been like, Sora's just like, what? Riku's here? Run, 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 bust through door. Riku's there, but it's just Riku with double Ks, and he's just like, aw. And then you can be like, ha, Sora is gay because he was excited to see his friend Riku, but not his other friend Riku.
Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Please remember, everybody.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Goodbye.
Bye.